Hello and welcome to Learning Excel 2016. My name is Mike Henry and this is the 10th video in Chapter 1. In this video we're going to talk about printing. We're going to look at a lot of different ways that we can print, some of the features of printing. So you've been working really hard on your spreadsheet and you're now ready to turn it into a piece of paper so you can print that out and hand it to someone. So we're going to take a look at printing. Right now you can see that we've got this order already set up and we'd like to have a printed copy of this. And there's a multitude of different ways that you can get to the printing area. I'm going to show you the first and easiest way, which is Control P, and that immediately brings us to the printing area. When you look at this, you can see that on one piece of paper we're going to have some columns, but you can see it's printing on two pieces of paper down here, and on page 2 that's like that. Not really going to look that well. So you can see right here there's these dotted lines that are coming down, and as we scroll down you can see that these are the marks of where the page will be. So what we need to do is maybe fix how things are being printed. One of the first things that I always suggest to people is find the outer margins. So in this case I'm going to mark this area right here, and this is just what we want printed. We don't want anything else printed. And I come up here to my page layout, and under here I have a print area, and I am going to set that as my print area. So that's the only thing that's going to be printed. But as you can see, the paper is still putting it onto two pieces of paper. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to Control P here, and you can see that it's showing this printout. Now the other thing I could do is I have lots of different settings here. I'll show you those in the same place, but right now it says we are doing this portrait. So you can see the papers like this. Well, we can change that from portrait to landscape, and you can see now I've gone landscape. I've gotten more on there, but I'm still on two pieces of paper, and I'm going to have this much extra on the other side, so I got to get out the Scotch tape to make this work. Now you'll see over here I had the orientation and I had the ability to go from portrait. Now here I have margins. I could maybe force my margins out a little bit, and I'm going to show you through this button. Here's File, Print. That's the same thing that got me with my Control P. Now I'm going to show you here we're going to work with scaling. I'm going to come here and I'm going to scale this to say fit everything onto one piece of paper. So you can see everything's fitting onto one piece of paper, but it scaled it. It's going to be a little bit smaller. So over here you can see the scaling area shows that now it's fitting one page by one page, but the scale is now to 83%. So you can see we're jumping back and forth through different mechanisms to look at this. Now I'm going to go one more time with my Control P, and I'm going to show you down here we have some page setup. So I can click on page setup, and it brings up this menu here that is the old school way of doing things. I think it's one of the most powerful views, but I also want to show you from this page here you have these little dialog buttons. If I hit here you can see it brings up my old school way of doing it too. So you can see I'm in a landscape. I've adjusted it to 83% of the normal size, so the text is a little smaller, but it's going to fit onto one page by one page. I could adjust my margins in here. Maybe I want my margins to be just a wee bit smaller. I could adjust, if my printer can handle it, to a 0.5 margin, and don't hit the enter key like I just did. And I could do the same thing over here. Maybe I want this to be a 0.5 margin. So I've made my area a little bit wider. So let's go ahead and take a look at the print preview. And you can see that this area here and this area here has been squished a little. Okay. If I decided I really had to print it on a portrait, you can see because I've scaled it, it's now on portrait. It fits it on there, and I squeezed it to this so I could show you something with margins too, is you can center it on the page horizontally, or in my case I'm going to do it vertically, and you can see it puts that in there. So you're seeing that you have a lot of control here in the printing aspect of what you can do. Here we can also put headers and footers. So in this case, I click on the header and footer, and I might decide to put in a custom header here. And in this section, I might put Mike's Card Shop. And on this side, I might decide that I'd like to have the date right here. And you can see here, inserts the time, or this one inserts the date. So I double click that, and you can see I get the date. So now when I look at my piece of paper, you can see up here it has Mike's Card Shop, and over here it has the date. So I have the ability to really add things, and I could have put footers down here too. So printing gives me that control. And then the last thing I do is I can pick the paper size. I can, if I've got a really good printer, I can collate things. And if I've got lots of pages, I might decide to only print 1 or 2 pages. So you've got a lot of different control mechanisms you have here. All these control mechanisms are up here too, and those are things that we're going to look at as you print your documents. So in this video we looked at printing. Printing is a very important process here. I highly recommend when you're practicing this and getting used to it, practice with a printer that does not have expensive inks to it. Do not do this on a very high-end color printer. Practice with an easygoing black and white printer. Once you get a feel for how to do things, then you can start using the other printer. But understanding how to print this, there's a lot of different pieces to it, and this semester you're not going to get a lot of printing from me. So it's something you want to practice with when you get into the real world.